Welcome to episode 7 of A Conversation With. This is a conversation with HAL, or Alex. What is it? Alex?
Chisholm.
Chisholm, that's what it is. Okay.
Professional
Music producer based in Detroit. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Alex. I go by HAL. I've been producing for almost 10 years now. I'm based just outside of Detroit. Mainly like to work with, like drill and bass and, IDM, Braindance, kind of early warp Rephlex.
Oh, yeah. Stuff. So just, kind of to dive right in, what would you say your most influential 3 albums are? 3 albums that influenced you the most?
Probably number 1 would be Go Plastic.
Nice.
Squirt River, obviously. Honestly, that's kind of hard. Go off subject, it'd probably be Geo Gotti by Boards of Canada. That kind of was originally what kind of got me into producing this kind of stuff. And then, honestly, it's a toss-up. I'm trying to think of the Bogdan album. No, honestly, probably Amber by Odd Tecker. Kind of a lot of those synth melodies and stuff like that. I really influenced. Not so much the drums. Obviously, I'm more breakbeat oriented, but
right.
The overall textures in that album, I really appreciate.
So, what got you into electronic music?
It's a funny story. I was always a drummer, actually. I kind of grew up in high school playing drums in like grind bands. So I was obsessed with the Locust and stuff like that. And
did you say a grind band?
Yeah, just essentially just really fast, chaotic music. Which kind of, obviously the stuff I produce now isn't actually too far off from that. But right. I got sick of playing in bands, so I went to recording school here locally in Detroit. And then once I got out of that, I started working in a studio, and I decided I didn't like working in a studio on other people's music, but that got me into the field of, making music with a computer. So I was kind of like, well, I can do that from home. And now I'm sitting in my own studio.
What studio did you work at?
It's called Rust Belt. It's in Royal Oak, Michigan. It's a pretty big studio. Yeah. But
doesn't it from how you phrased it and how you talked about how you went from being in a band and then deciding it wasn't for you and then working with people in a studio and then leaving, it doesn't sound like you understood, or at least you didn't know how people played a role in your relationship to music. It sounds like you were especially working in a band, you had your own creative direction that you wanted to go.
Exactly. And as a drummer, obviously, you have some creative control, but it's definitely kind of a backseat position a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, hey, just stay in time, bro. Okay.
Exactly.
Me and Kaden are also both drummers.
Yeah, I drummed in high school. Yep.
Oh yeah. I've seen you guys drumming on your stuff and whatnot. Yeah. But then the studio was kind of the same thing. It's, you're working on other people's stuff. It definitely feels more like a job than like a creative process.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, I don't know.
How long did you do that for?
About 2 years. Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you say, from that experience, what would you say that you learned out of that experience that you took away from?
Working at the studio?
Yeah.
That's hard. It's actually the stuff we were doing. Like one of the last projects we were working was Dennis Coffey was one of the original Funk Brothers. So there's not too much that translates into this kind of stuff, but just, I don't know. I mean, just the overall process. I mean, I took way more from recording school than I did from actually working in the studio as far as what I do currently. But there's definitely, different recording techniques. And one of the producers there who actually does a lot of my mixing now, his name's Eric Hogemeyer. I always liked working with him because he was super experimental. He was the guy that's like, let's try running this through this, tape delay into this old flanger through, Mike the Cab in a weird way. He was definitely more, where a lot of the guys there, were obviously very, very talented engineers, but they were kind of more like they knew what they wanted to do. You know, kick drum came through. Yeah, just made everything sound good, but it wasn't exactly, there wasn't like experimentation to it.
Right. So speaking of Eric, he mastered your latest release then?
Yeah, mixed and mastered.
Yeah, very nice. So you don't do your own mixing then?
No. There's two parts of that. Eric's really, really good. I can't even compare to what he does, and we're still close friends. So, and B, I'm always really busy with my job, so the time that's allotted in that, I just don't have. I'd rather spend it making music.
That makes sense.
That's smart.
So yeah, tell us a bit about your latest release. It came out on Detroit Underground?
Yeah, it came on Detroit Underground, self-release. Yeah, it was something that I just kind of been working on for a couple years. It's definitely heavily renoise tracker based. You know, a lot of SH-101 and stuff like that. Yeah, there wasn't really an overall concept with that album. It just kind of came together. You know, I actually, the concept came from me trying to put the tracks in some kind of order that actually made sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I know what you mean.
I mean, going back to my job, like I really write music in, 20 to 40 minute intervals. Right. So it's a lot of my tracks too. Like, if you listen to them, they'll just suddenly change right in the middle of the song. It's like I'm DJing. But it's literally just I ran out of time, and when I came back to it, I couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing. So I just kind of take it somewhere else and then try and stitch it all together,
Right. So what's your process? I mean, we can see some lovely equipment behind you. Maybe give us a little tour of your studio from what we can see from here.
Oh, yeah. Well, behind me is obviously the Kai S1100 sampler, which is relatively new. I got this after the DU album. I'm kind of using it more of an effect box right now.
Right.
Just sampling everything into it, getting it out into renoise and slicing that up. I got my 101 here. I got the Behringer MS1, which I haven't really used. I'd gotten it because I got sick of rendering this all the time because I used the 101 so much. So I figured I'd have two, but I don't know. It gets some use, I guess. It really, to me, doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
It's a little too pretty for my liking. Yeah, I got the computer renoise up here. Right here is a Roland JD990, which I use quite a bit. Kind of classic Rompler sounds.
Yeah.
I got what else I have? 606, some Moog Mother 32s right here. 303, the Cyclone analogic, not a real one. Can't afford it. But it kind of keeps going. I might kind of see if I can do this, like a circle of stuff. So
very nice.
There's a lot going on here on this side.
Is that a 202?
Like my Lambda. Yep, 202, high-end tracker, cast pad, the Mega FM synth, which has been pretty cool. It's a little hard to tame though.
What FM synth?
Mega FM.
Oh, I've heard it. What do you think about those? I was
looking great. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, it's got two, whatever, the Sega Genesis chips in it or whatever. Total FM synthesis, but it's great for certain things, but it has a lot of noise coming from the
very harsh.
Yeah, it's definitely really harsh. I mean, it definitely has got that, classic, game sound to it, but
right.
I find the noise in certain circumstances can become a little too much. I tend to use it for like plinky sounds that are kind of short, so it's not just this wall of noise that's behind your music all the time. But I mean, honestly, I could probably just get away with my 101 and the Prophet 6. Those are the two I use the most at the moment.
So, would you choose those if you had to get rid of everything? Aside from those two?
Honestly, I could probably slim down to just the 101. I mean, besides sampling and stuff like that, I mean, it's really the instrument that kind of ends up on everything.
Yeah. Was that inspired by the heavy use of 101 on square pushers?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I won't even lie about that. Yeah, that's absolutely.
So, what was your childhood like? Were your parents into music?
No, it's weird actually. My sister's actually a musician too, which is, I don't know how we both kind of ended up doing it.
That's funny.
Yeah, my dad's actually from England and stuff like that. But pretty standard childhood, grew up playing soccer, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, music was never really part of it. My dad had a guitar laying around that he had bought when he was in the Army. Yeah. And, me and my sister would kind of pick it up and mess around with it. We both ended up doing school band pretty early on, which I think kind of led. That's how I started playing drums anyway. But my sister's actually a guitarist in this band called The End of the Ocean, which is like a post-rock band that's on Equal Vision Records. So yeah, she's doing pretty well with that. Yeah, but
that's funny. That sounds very similar to my childhood. I'm not even joking. Yeah. My dad has a guitar that he got when he came out of the Army, and it's sitting around in our living room, and no one else in my family is a musician. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I don't even really remember like listening to music growing up. Like my wife, for example, her dad's obsessed with listening to music, like in the car and at the house, there's always music playing. It's like, I feel like me and my sister kind of grew up in silence.
Yeah, I find it interesting how some people like, my childhood growing up, it's rare even now when there's not music on. Like, I mean, growing up, music was just like such a massive part. And someone like you and Kaden, which they didn't grow up listening to music, in the end, it didn't really make a difference. I find that pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
not really. But
so what kind of what really keeps you inspired, and what was the first kinds of music that you really like? You were saying you had these couple first albums that you said were your favorite. When did you really get introduced to the genre? I know you said you were drumming for a bit in high school. Were you listening to
electronic music?
Yeah.
No, I really wasn't. I had known about like obviously Aphex Twin and Square Pusher. Right. Honestly, mainly from the Chris Cunningham like tape of all the music videos, which a buddy of mine had access to that. Right. It was a weird progression. It was kind of, honestly, when I started making music on my own here, it definitely wasn't this kind of genre. It was more when I started to try and push it, because I got used to playing music and, acoustic bands where it was kind of like you're always trying to play faster and push the music and, try different things.
I know what you mean.
So it kind of, led me into that. Like my wife actually had, quite a few Square Pusher and Aphex Twin albums this was kind of right when we first met.
Nice.
And so I kind of like saw them on the shelf and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I, picked them up and it was just kind of like I never put them down again. And then just kind of went down that rabbit hole.
What do you think, these days with inspiration and stuff, what's your process not in the studio? Do you have a routine that you go through before you start working on music to help you get inspired or things like that?
Oh no, not so much. It's
you just show up.
Yeah, it's really like my wind down. I'm kind of under the thing. It's just like you just start writing, and if you're 10 minutes into it and you're not liking where it's going, you just save it and then on to the next until something kind of
that's smart.
Yeah.
I barely. Like actually, it doesn't take me once I get into a song, it doesn't take me very long to write it.
Right.
A lot of my songs I'll write in a day, but it's
impressive. I
gotta like it out of the gates. It's gotta kind of grab me from the beginning. Otherwise, it's kind of like writers when you write something and you just toss it in the trash next to you. That's kind of my writing process.
Makes sense. So, what are some of your other hobbies other than music?
Record collecting is a big one. A big record collection, which I'm probably sure you've seen on my Instagram and stuff like that. Just that. I like to travel. I do a lot of traveling. Did a lot of traveling, obviously pre-COVID. All the way to go to Europe and just went to Japan relatively recently. Just besides that, I mean, to be honest, my job, I'm the director of operations for a restaurant group. So I have very little free time with that.
That makes sense. I know the restaurant industry is very demanding.
Yeah. I got places that are open in the morning and places that are open in the night. So I'm pretty much on call every week.
Dang.
But
do you see your life going more towards professional music? Like, would you like to at some point only do music?
No, honestly, I like where it sits in my life. It's my escape. It's honestly, I make music for myself. I mean, I really do. And then it's just kind of, I hit a point eventually where I was just like, well, I probably should, get it out there. And it's so convenient to get it out there now.
Yeah.
But, I don't really play live or anything like that. It's really just kind of honestly my form of like meditation almost.
That makes sense.
That's powerful.
So as far as, kind of segueing from meditation, something I've been messing around with recently is, do I stay up late and work on music, or do I get up extra early? Because I've got a daughter and I have not very much free time. So it sounds like you're kind of in the similar thing. How do you stay up late, or do you get up early?
I get up early.
How early?
Usually about 6 on a good day.
Nice. So what's your morning routine like?
I mean, that's how early I work normally. So it's usually just a mad dash for the door. But Saturday mornings, honestly, is kind of when I write most of my music. That's kind of my biggest time to be able to do that. And I don't have the weight of everything that happened that day over me. So I like just wake up, make a cup of coffee, go down to the studio and just kind of, start messing around.
Make the magic happen.
Yeah. But I definitely work better in the morning than I do at night. Usually at night, I'm just too tired or
that makes sense.
Going out of my mind.
So do you read books?
No.
So how about movies?
He's honest.
Do you watch movies? Yes,
I do watch movies. I'm not a big movie buff, but I definitely watch movies. I'm married now, so it's very much like what we total kind of standard
movie night.
What do we want to watch?
What would be some of your favorite movies if you just had to name 3?
3? Well, obviously my HAL 2001: A Space Odyssey is my favorite movie. Of course. Other ones, man, that's hard.
Space Odyssey is very good.
Yeah, I love movies with that kind of feel. Kind of slow.
What would you do if you were sent out into space like that?
It's a good question. Probably not much. I'm pretty good at chilling when I need to be. So I'd probably just
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if I remember he was playing, wasn't he playing classical music?
Yeah. Yeah, there's all the spaceships that are kind of dancing within the classical music and stuff like that.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I'm actually a big Stanley Kubrick fan in general. I love a lot of his movies, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, Clockwork Orange is very intense.
Yeah.
So, in what ways would you say that music, what roles would you say music plays a role in your life?
Honestly, it's an escape for me. It just really doesn't translate into any other aspects of my life, which I actually like. That it's kind of my own island.
Like you said, it has its place.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't remind me of what's going on outside of this room. So it's very much just it's my island. It's my space. It's my,
it's your little playground.
Yeah, exactly. It's very therapeutic for me. I put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, music, I feel like it's just such a powerful thing because it can say, it doesn't involve any words. You don't need to say, because words are just symbols. And if you're speaking in music, you're essentially speaking in raw emotion. I mean, when you go in, you're not. I take it you're not thinking very critically about your music as you're making it. I mean, I know you said that in the first 10 minutes, if it doesn't sound great, you sort of just dump it and jump to the next one. But once you're really into a rhythm, do you find yourself just sort of an hour passes and
Oh
you
yeah,
feel like
for
it
sure.
had been you feel like it had been 5 minutes, and you're sort of just in this flow zone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's if I can get into that flow zone, which does happen. That's generally all the songs I've produced have kind of come out of that flow zone. 'Cause like I said, I don't like to force things, but
That makes sense.
It just I lost my train of thought, but it like going back to emotion, it does. The thing that I like about it is it does translate into the music, even if you're not trying to. Like, I'm never trying to sit there and be like, I want to make a slow, sad song or whatever. It's just,
yeah.
If I'm really tired that day, I'd probably turn the BPM down just because I didn't want to listen to.
you don't want to be there for the.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
your BPM, slow BPM, is like my hyper fast BPM still. So
yeah, 160 would be a slow song for me for sure.
Oh, holy smokes! I think the highest I've pushed any of the BPMs on my equipment's like 150. I don't really go past that. And right now I'm working in like
I do
85.
fast. I like fast songs too.
Yeah.
So how long have you always worked with trackers? You're always ideal.
No, actually, I started out in Logic.
Okay.
I have EPs that I'd done in Logic, which kind of just are sitting on Spotify somewhere. I'm not even sure how to find them. And then from there, I got into I got in Bitwig when it first came out.
Okay.
And I got really into Bitwig. So I did an album called Introvert with a label called Programma out of San Diego, which was mainly all done in Bitwig. I don't remember even how I came across trackers. It might have been, I don't know, some video of like Venetian snares or something like that. And it was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
He uses renoise, yeah.
Yeah. And so I picked it up. It's a really cheap software. It's like $60. It wasn't much like a decision. And so I started, learning trackers, and I just fell in love with it. The workflow works really well. It makes my brain think differently too, because there's really not so much a visual aspect to it. Like, you don't have waveforms and all this stuff.
Right.
It's just literally. So I found myself using my ears a lot more.
Makes sense.
And seeing everything so arranged so perfectly on a timeline.
I like how linear trackers are. It's very, I do this, work here, and then I can copy paste if I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can sort of see, you can make a structure just by looking at it. You can be like, all right, well, here's the first part, and then I maybe copy paste it and change the second part of it a little bit. For me, it's like I'm speaking a language. It's like my first section is the question, and then the next one's the answer, and then maybe the next two parts are like a different take on the question. And you know what I mean? I like that aspect.
It's a super intuitive workflow. I mean, it's definitely hard to wrap your mind around it for the first month or so, but once you get it, it honestly makes more sense to me.
Does Renoise have the little hexadecimal sort of effects on the right side of it, where you have to like put G for tremolo or?
Exactly.
Okay.
There's a bunch of effect commands. You can reverse stuff, pitch stuff up and down. You can slide. You can roll. There's a million different things you can do. You can do combinations of all those things and get weird glitchy sounds and stuff like that. It's just, it's really fast, especially for drums. I mean, obviously the drum programming is a big part of my music, and that it's way faster, way more intuitive in a tracker for sure. And now really. Honestly, it's because it's a great sequencer for external gear too. I really prefer to sequence, things like the 101 and stuff like that. I sequence through Renoise.
So it triggers MIDI?
Yeah, it can send MIDI, and then with my 101, I have the original Arturia beat step that I just used honestly as a MIDI to CV converter.
Oh, huh.
And just that's how I run the 101. Then obviously stuff that's MIDI, I run through MIDI. It's a little pain because then you have to render everything down. Individually, because you can only record one audio source at a time. So it's not like you can record the full mix all in one go. But no, it's definitely my favorite place to work. And I'm actually finishing up an album that I actually went back into Bitwig and started using Bitwig again now, mainly because they just kind of added all this stuff and I was just kind of messing around with it, which, you know, I really like how the album's going, but I will say I can definitely tell that I didn't do it in a tracker, not in a bad way. It's just, I sound different. It just the workflow makes my end product, you know, different because of the limitations and, you know, to each.
I found the same thing. I grew up using a tracker, making music on it, and then all of a sudden I swapped to Ableton, and I've made one song that I released with the tracker, and I always find it's just very different. It's not better or worse. It's just so unique. Tracker music, how you make it, how it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't do in Bitwig, you know, what I do in Renoise, and then vice versa. So it's really just kind of how I'm feeling that day, and you know, so I do bounce back quite a bit between the two. I still can't get into Ableton though. I've tried a million times. I find it completely unintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason I think that Ableton works so well is like I've been playing classical piano for about 20 years now. So to have something that's super non-invasive like Ableton, where I can just kind of hit record and work on my stuff and kind of almost like just let it run. It's very transparent for me.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, because actually I started using, have you ever used Reactor?
Mm-hmm.
I used there was like a multi-track recorder in Reactor where you could like layer audio, and I would use that to make my full tracks. And so once I got Ableton, I pretty much just use it as a multi-track recorder. So something I wanted to talk about. So some of your favorite artists, you know, Aphex Twin, Boards of Canada and stuff. Would you ever see yourself putting out a release on Warp?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I feel like that label is really, you know, I still love Warp and, you know, the releases, but I definitely think they've grown up a bit into a different, you know, it's almost a different genre from where they were, which is great. You know, they're still finding unique artists, which is the whole point of the thing is, you know, finding people that are pushing the boundaries and stuff. I just don't know if it's so much pushing the boundaries, and, you know, obviously there's, you know, Aphex Twin and Square Pusher are still releasing stuff. So, that's hard. I don't know. Honestly, with this genre, I feel like there's so many smaller labels now that are actually carrying more weight within the genre.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I agree. I mean, me and Kaden run a label ourselves, actually. Just officially opened it. But so what are you listening to these days? Like, what have you listened to today, if anything?
Today was mainly Plaid I was listening to.
Nice. What albums, or just a mix?
Yeah, just kind of a mix. It was on my computer a lot today, so I just kind of had it running.
Nice. So, real basic question. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. How come?
I don't know. Just always.
I mean, it's so hard to describe why those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You know, things just are, you know? You say, oh, this is the color green, and you look at it and you're like, okay. Like, I like that. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just like green. I don't know. I like green shirts. Just kind of, But
something I like to ask people, especially if they're like, I mean, we just interviewed DJ Food, and he's huge. I like to interview people who are on their way up, and I would definitely say, from even just like looking at your releases and your attention, I would definitely say you're on a track to getting a lot more attention musically. So what would you say, you know, 5 years down the road when you're mega famous for making drill and bass music? We'll interview you again then, but right now, what advice would you give people who are just getting into music and want to do anything musically?
Just do it. And honestly, it's I think some people, you know, want to sound like somebody so bad. I mean, obviously, you know, there's techniques involved and genres and stuff like that, but some people get so lost in that it becomes frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, trying to emulate this person that like, it's like, I'm never going to be a square pusher. There's no way. It's, you know, even the stuff he was doing at 17 years old, it's still kind of like, I don't know how the hell he did it, but, you know, it's just kind of figuring out and, you know, just taking the time to, you know, just experiment, you know, if you don't know how to do, you know, because even when I started producing, it still wasn't like crazy on YouTube on how to show you how to do stuff. You kind of just had to experiment until you got something that was similar sounding to what you were going to. And, but that's how you develop your own sound too, is just kind of figuring out your own way to maybe get an end product that's similar to somebody else, but maybe the road you took there was different. So it ends up sounding different.
Right.
But just not worrying about it so much. You know, I think so many people spend months and months tweaking songs and stuff. It's just, sometimes it's good just to spit one out, at least finish it, you know, and just
let it be what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And then let the market decide. If they think it, you know, the one thing that surprises me every time is when you release something that you just don't, you're just either you're unsure, you know, it's very ambiguous. And then there's just someone out there who likes it. And you're just, I'm always caught off guard by that. And I think even in the attempt to try and emulate somebody, you get to be even more so who you are in music just by your attempt to emulate.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, I don't know. If we lose my mind today, I promise you. No, but yeah, it's just not trying hard. It's just letting it be fun, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, obviously have an idea of what you want to do, but there's so many times that like I get stuck creatively. I'm just like, you know, I'm going to make some like really dancey track that I know I'm never going to do anything with, but it's just something that's so mind numbingly easy and just kind of just to do something, you know, but,
so how do you feel about managing this restaurant? Is it a chain or is it local?
No, it's an independent crew. So they're independent restaurants, but, it's good. I mean, I love the job. I've been doing it for like 12 years now.
Wow.
It's you know, it's been great. It's, you know, it's a lot of work, but it also allows me a lot of freedom too in its own way.
Okay.
So the position I'm in is kind of more, this is what needs to get done, and it's just get it done. It's not like I'm like clocking in, clocking out, stuff like that. So it's you know,
is it desk based? Is it like
it's all over the map. You know, there's sometimes I'm in the stores. Yeah, a lot of it's desk work, you know, overseeing construction projects and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely all encompassing, you know, but it's allowed me to have the things that I've always wanted. So,
sure.
You know, I can't complain about it.
Makes sense. So if you had a billboard and you could put anything you wanted on it, what would you put on it?
That's hard.
There's cars going down the highway. There's a billboard up to the right. What do you see? What does it say?
Hundreds of people see it.
They stop. They pass by for work every day. They see it.
Probably the cover of like the Richard D. James album. Just weird face.
Might get some car crashes.
That'll make people think.
I used to want the shirt. There was someone selling it. It was an all over print shirt with his face, like from the Richard D. James album. I asked my parents for it every year growing up, and they were just like, "We're never gonna get you that shirt." It's so creepy.
You didn't even get yourself it.
No, I haven't even got. I don't think I'd wear that in public. I don't know. I might if I got it. My wife wouldn't let me.
You might enjoy this. I'll grab this off the wall and say,
"Show what you got."
That's how it breaks you. Yeah, I got fucking.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Oh boy!
Fucking creepy as hell. My wife absolutely fucking hates this thing.
Here, put it on.
You gonna go around on Halloween this year with that?
I've done it.
I don't doubt it.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Oh, that's something.
Oh my God! did you find that?
I think because that was going to be my Halloween, or was my Halloween costume. I think I got some guy on Etsy to make it for me.
Are you kidding me? Some guy on Etsy makes masks. That's actually pretty cool.
That's pretty
yeah. Got the umbrella.
You did get the umbrella?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I bought before they re-released it. When I was using it as a costume, I'd gotten another person on Etsy to make me the umbrella, but I've since bought the official one or whatever. But
I tried to get what was it? I think it was like the beach towel, but I think they sold out too fast.
Oh, I know. I was able to get the slip mat this time, but that was about as far as I could get with it. So those bears going like 5 seconds.
Yeah, really. So do you do any DJing with vinyl or just listen?
Just listen. I don't know the first thing about DJing, if I'm honest.
Yeah, me neither. So what's the latest record you've played on your turntable?
Honestly, the last one I played was Uzik's last album that just came out on Analogical Force. That's what I've been listening to. Yeah.
You like Uzik then?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty
big fan of his. Yeah. I just love his melodies. I it's like, even like, I love Autechre and stuff like that, but I'm definitely more drawn to stuff that obviously has that amount of chaos, but has that melodic structure still, which
Controlled chaos.
Yeah, exactly. But still has, something that's memorable to it. I mean, that's why, speaking of Autechre, that's why I love Amber is, I felt like they really had that element. And I love modern Autechre too, but it's
right.
Kind of like, I don't even know what track I'm listening to at this point. It's just kind of,
they all blend together. But what did you think of their, I think it was Plus? There were those two releases that came out. I've got one of them over here.
I got one of them too. I honestly, it might still be in the shrink wrap. I don't even know if I've actually had on and listened to it yet.
I've got mine in the shrink wrap as well. Yeah, I haven't opened it. I was mostly sold on the cover. It's just really pretty.
I know. I keep going to buy the other one, and I'm like, I haven't even listened to the other one yet. I need to. Yeah. I'm pretty notorious for buying too many records at the same time, and then I just don't end up listening to them, and they just sit in a giant pile. But
yeah. So do you use Spotify, and then do you listen here and there, or are there times where you're like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to 30 minutes of whatever the heck I want?
Yeah. I mean, obviously when I'm at home, I listen to vinyl, depending. I like to put on vinyl and like clean the house or just like sitting around chilling, working on my laptop at home. But then, I don't know. I use Spotify. Yeah, I do use Spotify. It's great for in the car and stuff like that. I'm a big Bandcamp user.
Nice.
So
I like Bandcamp.
Bandcamp's good for artists.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so much stuff out there that, you wouldn't find on Spotify, especially for this kind of genre and stuff like that. It's almost not even worth it to put stuff on Spotify anymore.
Yeah. But, so speaking of Bandcamp, are there any new artists that you found, like small, almost unheard artists that you've discovered on Bandcamp that you really like, that you want to tell us about?
That's a good question. There are a few. I never remember these guys' names.
I know what you mean. And then I just think it's cool. I wanted to start asking our guests that, because you find these little teeny artists, and then when they get a shout out on a podcast, you link their page, and they're like the best day in the world for them.
Yeah, there's this guy, Lucas Thompson, that I've been listening to that I really enjoy.
What kind of music's that?
It's almost like Bogdan a little bit. It's definitely, I can definitely tell he's influenced by him. It's just he's got some really solid melodies. His drum programming, it's kind of got that lo-fi kind of 8-bit old school tracker sound to it.
Is the picture like a cow?
No, it's just.
Okay, I'm thinking of someone else.
It's red. I think the album's called Bright Blood Beats.
Nice.
Dang.
We'll have to link it in the description.
Bright Blood Beats.
Sweet.
Yeah. He's pretty solid. I mean, I'm really liking labels like Concrete College has been another one. I really enjoy the artists on that. Actually, Jerry LaFilm Flim did a remix for me that I'm going to have on my next release.
Nice.
Who's super, super talented guy out of London.
Yeah. Speaking of remixes, you did one for my album whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
Actually, and I'm so
I listened
excited.
to that one. It's very like,
I like it.
Earthy and
I
like
love that
in
remix.
your face.
Probably one of the coolest remixes I've ever gotten. It's very different. So kind of segueing from that, what tips do you have? I mean, for the life of me, I can't make drill and bass. I've tried it. I guess maybe I just don't have the right personality or brain type or something, but I just can't seem to get them to drive as good as yours do. What's your what's your secret?
It's hard. I mean,
Probably a tracker.
Yeah, well, that does help, to be honest. But I've done it in Bitwig too. I generally start with the lead line in my music, just getting some kind of melody, and then generally I'll write the drums from there, and then I'll write the bass to match the drums. Is kind of my way of getting into that. And I tend to not worry about. I tend to just write a bunch of sections to a song and not worry how I get there per se, and then I kind of just stitch everything together. So I kind of worry about how things make sense after the fact.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach. Yeah, good way to think about it. I mean, you could think about. Yeah, it's just interesting because my music style, production versus Kaden's versus yours versus DJ Foods, and we talked to friend Caramel Chameleon. They're all so different. I find that really interesting because he uses like a tape deck. I think he said he uses to record all of his stuff. But
Caramel Chameleon.
Yeah, he had a really interesting.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, I just got a record. That guy, I'm obsessed with it. Been listening to that a lot.
Oh, Caramel Chameleon.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. What album? What record is it?
Shoot, I don't know. It's got like a blue and orange cover on it or something like that.
Was it Solarato?
Solitaire. No, I think that one was red.
Red. Yeah, I got that one with me.
I already have this up. Hold on. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, his stuff is super cool.
Yeah, Solitario.
Yeah, it's a sick release.
Yeah, it really is.
You guys should do a collab. Do one of remix of one of his.
He's totally
stuff.
chill. He'd work. Yeah,
he'd totally do it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Honestly. Yeah, it's funny for remixes. Like I don't know if I'm like good at remixing or if I'm awful because I cannot for the life of me make a remix sound anything like the original. I'm
the same way though.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I take it literally when they say remix. I just like take everything, jumble it up, and I do my own thing.
Yeah, you gave me a sample pack is what I
that's how I see it.
Yeah.
I'll keep the bass and then everything else. Nah.
Yeah. I might chop up your drum pattern and rearrange it a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of it.
So about making music, do you often just play music and just not record anything, just play it?
I mean, no, not so much. I mean, with the tracker, you're kind of recording as you go anyway.
Right.
So, no, I mean, I recently had hooked up. I don't know. I'd never made music just in a hardware form before, it's never been part of my workflow, but I just recently, since I've been trying to get into this Polyend tracker.
Nice.
I, actually my studio is an absolute disaster right now because I kind of unhooked everything and, had it working with the 202 and no, I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to get up right now. I'm about killing myself, but, yeah, I liked the workflow of working all in hardware. I'd never really get in the shop before. I mean, it's definitely faster because you're just kind of essentially jamming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still don't know if it's for me yet. I'm still kind of figuring that one out. But
when's the last time you've played live music?
God, it's been a long time. Probably like 6 years ago. And even that wasn't really live. That was for like a local Detroit radio station.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've only ever really
played. Wait, you played for a radio station?
Yeah, there's this. It's called 313 FM. It's like a local electronic station. It's mainly, you know, techno house kind of stuff like that. But they were doing essentially where you'd come in, do a set. There'd be like 3 or 4 guys, and then they'd put the set out there. But yeah, that was fun. I mean, I don't know the first thing about playing live. I've done it a few times, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. It's the way I produce music and write music. It's not really. I just feel it's almost like I feel like I can't translate it to live without just being the guy that's kind of hidden.
It'd be hard to
just click play.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the few times I've done it, I've just kind of wrote out my set in Bitwig and just ran my computer through 2 chaos pads, and that was my set.
Yeah, I mean, I think the live experience, it can be a tough one because I see a lot of live music, and some of them really do just more or less click play. Even if they're DJing, you know, it's like one song. Even if it's their own music, you know, cue up the next song and stuff, which is essentially click and play because they don't do much transitions. And I think it's more of just the experience of being there. They're there for you. So like if you're there live, they're there for the most part to see you on stage.
Yeah,
you know, which is pretty cool.
The hard thing, for sure. I would definitely do it again. You know, especially now I'm kind of gotten to know more people from Detroit Underground, because before I was not involved in the scene around here at all.
Yeah, how did you link up with Detroit Underground? How did you find out about them?
Well, I'd known about them for years. I'd actually been sending Kiro. I'd sent him my last 2 albums prior to this one, which obviously he didn't take. But yeah, no, I ended up befriending Cam Cushion and Program 17 on Instagram, who are kind of local to me. Yeah. And, you know, they, you know, liked my music and stuff like that. And then they had reached out to Kiro to contact me, and then Kiro contacted me, and I, you know, sent him the album, you know.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's such a silly guy when you talk to him on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, without Instagram, I mean, that's kind of what gave me the confidence to put my music out there, because, you know, you get people commenting, oh, it's good. And it's like, okay, cool. Actually, maybe this is good, you know? But yeah, no, it's been nice. I mean, it's definitely, because I love the guys on Programma. This OX Fax, he's just a solid dude. But the problem is they're kind of people from around the world. So it's not really anybody locally.
What is that? What did you say? Programma XX?
No, it's just Programma. PR0 GRAMMA.
Okay.
I have 2 full lengths, a split, and a few other things on that label, a couple remixes. But they've always been great. I mean, they're the ones that kind of reached out to me originally, and you know, I'm probably going to put out some stuff with them again in the future here. But it's really nice at Detroit Underground because so many people are local in Detroit. Yeah, really. So allows me to kind of.
Where are you in Detroit in relation to the city?
I'm in Ferndale, so I'm just off 8 Mile in Woodward.
So not too far.
Yeah, because you guys are like in Lansing or something, right?
We're in Ludington. I'm going to be in Lansing soon, but listening to you talk about, you know, having a techno radio made me jealous, because I grew up in Lansing, but then we moved to Ludington. My parents moved up here, and there's nothing up here. It's like, turn the radio on, it's either the pop music station, which is essentially on repeat, or there's country music. There's I think there's really only 2 stations in Ludington.
No, there's not a bunch.
So I'm so excited to be out of here again. And then, you know, we'll be down in the Detroit area and start getting more active. We'll definitely have to hook up and do some music.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited.
I'm totally down.
At some point, I'm thinking about I was going to open a venue at some point in the next few years, just for mostly like techno music. So when I do it, we'll have to have you guys come to a show. That'd be sick.
For sure. Yeah. I'll figure out something.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. So we're almost at an hour here. So some of the stuff I wanted to ask you here near the end was more of like almost like a question round. If you had to pick 5 of your favorite songs, what would they be?
God, I'm not even good at knowing the names of songs. I kind of just listen. Yeah, honestly, my favorite song is probably "Everything in the Right Place," and it's Right Place by Radiohead. That was actually another album that was really influential for me, because I was a Radiohead fan, and once I found that, let's see, "Journey to Rehab" by Square Pusher is definitely up there. I just love how simple it is, but also so complex. "Music is Math" is probably up there.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's 3. Should just say "Untitled" by Bogdan, because it just gives me a whole album. We'll say that's number 4. Yeah, that's, I don't know, that's hard.
You can call it good at 4 if you want.
Yeah, 4 is solid.
Yeah,
4 solid.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. It's weird. I'm not good at like names of things and
I know what you mean.
Name stuff. I literally just.
I'm the same way. I'm very much. I just listen, and I can say I like that song, but I'm not like, okay, well, who did the drum part, and who, you know what I mean, and who sang, and who. It's just like, this is good.
Yeah. No, my memory for that kind of stuff is awful. It's like people that know actors and directors and stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah, I live in a rock, honestly. So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you think of the word successful, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Huh. As a musician, successful?
No, it can be anyone, anything, anyone. It could be a tree.
Could be.
Hey, trees do not care. They've got their life made. Okay, bro? They don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Honestly, I don't even think there's one person. I mean, it's real. I feel like if you're doing something that makes you happy and you found balance in your life, then that makes you successful.
Bingo.
I think balance is successful.
Yeah. What would you say your key, quote unquote, key to success for living a balanced life? Because I mean, you've worked the same job for 12 years, and that alone is an accomplishment. So what would you say your key to holding down a job, staying happy and staying stable and balancing your life?
Staying stable.
I'm a very committed person across my whole life. I'm never like the grass is greener on the other side kind of guy. I just, if I find something, I just find something that keeps me happy within that situation. That'd be like, a job, my marriage, music, and you just keep at it. And it's just kind of, they're all the same. It just all comes down to commitment, and it's just good things take time,
No matter where you go, it's just like, or what you do, and you're always in the same place, and you can always find something that's better, but you're still in that same place. It just doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, people always think you're going to be happy doing something else, or, whatever. It's just not the truth. It's just, obviously if you're in an awful situation, that's different, but in general, but yeah.
Got another question there?
No, I like the silence. Is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, we just have the podcast is just we bring a guest on, they say hi, and then we just sit in silence for an hour.
Yeah.
Silence.
We just, we keep
HAL.
Then, maybe 15 minutes in, we start talking about the weather.
Yeah.
It's just really, it's
only small talk.
It's really silent, and it's like, hey, how's the weather in Detroit over there? Is it cloudy?
Yeah. What is it like down in Detroit right now, actually?
Yeah, it's cloudy. Looks like it could rain. I know I'm in a concrete bunker on the ground at the moment, but
I suppose it's probably the same as it is here. It looks about the same, like it could rain.
Yeah. It's like 81 degrees though, which is kind of weird.
Wow. Yeah, it's like
I'm not surprised, honestly.
It's concrete jungle down there.
Yeah.
Are people? Do you see? I'm actually curious. Are you seeing more people moving into Detroit, or are you seeing people move out of Detroit? Are they coming in or leaving?
I mean, I can't really speak for the city. Like I said, I say as a musician, I'm from Detroit just because it's easier. I mean, I'm right on the border of Detroit.
Yeah.
Even I say that sometimes.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it's almost, but, where I live, yeah, I mean, there's definitely people trying to move in. I mean, it's still the whole game of, it's nobody's selling houses and stuff, so it's definitely hard to get into this area at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know COVID definitely took a toll on Detroit. It was definitely, moving quickly in the right direction. I don't think it, knocked it back a ton, but it definitely kind of halted a lot of things that were, in the works.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, my daughter just walked in and she was looking at the screen. Watching
she was looking right at you.
She was watching you talk on the laptop. Like,
yeah, good. My cats do this all the time.
So this is my last question for you. Do you have a quote you live your life by or think of often?
Yeah, honestly, I don't. Yeah, I'm not.
What about a phrase that you just,
or even a person,
say to yourself every now and then when stuff happens and you're just like, well,
yeah, no, I honestly, I got nothing on that one.
Silence.
You're a tough lemon to squeeze there, boss.
Yeah. No, I just kind of go. That's just kind of my thing. I just like to stay busy, just not think about it. One of my mottos in life is I always do the stuff I don't want to do first thing when I wake up. It's just, I hate having things hanging over me. I'm much more of like just get things done and over with and move on. So, not either.
Have you felt that way about music? As if it's like, well, Saturday morning, I got to pump this out.
Yeah, no, I definitely have. It doesn't mean that anything good's going to come out of it, but here and there, I get a little lucky with that. Yeah.
So you definitely have a commitment to music, though you have its you said you have its place, but you have a commitment where it's just like, all right, I'm going to show up for this.
No, if I can't get down here in a couple of days, I kind of start to freak out a little bit. It's
yeah, I know the feeling.
But it's it's just because I haven't it's obviously about the music too, but it's more that I haven't had like my own personal time in a couple days. It's kind of like I need to be by myself and just have the world leave me alone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Alone time is so powerful. So your first album, you said you put in an album called Introvert?
Yeah. That was my first full length.
Why'd you name it Introvert?
Because I'm generally pretty introverted, and it happened to be one of the song titles, and I liked it.
So you liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not good at naming things either. Let's put it that way. It just kind of.
I don't think it's a bad. I mean,
I think it's actually a pretty cool name.
Its names are so very like. We're gonna hit, and we've already hit a point where you can name anything, and there's probably already a copy of it somewhere.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I kind of just, I don't go as far as I used to do the random number letter thing that was hot for a while, but my first two albums got
Rat
rejected.
Sauce 42.
Yeah, which apparently you have to be known to be able to do that because Spotify wouldn't allow me to do that. So, I ended up just naming them things, but now it's just random, just word thoughts.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's great. The Polygon Tracker has a random name generator, which has been quite handy. You hit the button, it spits out some bullshit at you. But
okay, so to wrap things up here, because we're at about an hour here, what would you say the best piece of advice you've ever been given is?
Like, again, musically or just in life?
Just in general.
Honestly, I kind of already said it because it was actually my dad was the one that taught me that was just get the things that you have hanging over you done as fast as possible. Like wake up, make the phone call you don't want to make, run the errand you don't want to do, and then it's done. Then you can have peace.
That makes sense. It's actually a very good rule to
I mean,
follow.
doing those things first just makes everything so much more free. Because then, it's not, the whole day isn't mentally taxing where
you just have it hanging over you the whole time, this thing you don't want to do. It's like, I'd prefer just to do those things and then not have to worry about it anymore.
Makes sense.
So did you work ahead in school?
Oh, I was awful at school.
So maybe not for those things, but for other things.
I graduated with like a 2.2 or something like that, which was barely passing, I think.
So you must have just not really cared that much.
No. One of my faults too is I lack the ability to care about things I don't care about.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you're a kid and your mom's like, "This broccoli's good for you. You're gonna eat it," and you're just like, "No, I won't."
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was
an
absolute blast to have you on here.
You're the bomb, man.
Yeah.
Okay? You're the bomb.
Me and Kaden both. I mean, I think at least I have your album downloaded on my phone, and I do listen to a good bit of your music, like, consistently, and it's absolutely amazing. So don't ever stop putting it out. And I'm really excited to get the remix that you did for me public, because it's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I gotta listen to that again. It's been a minute.
It's pretty cool.
But,
I'm getting it. Hopefully it'll come out on Ninja Tune is the goal.
All right.
But
that's awesome.
But
well,
hey,
cool.
yeah, thanks.
Stay in touch, and we'll chat soon for sure.
Yeah, thanks again for coming. This was absolutely awesome. This was a conversation with HAL, Alex. What was it? I'm not good with names. Chisholm. Yes, yeah, Chisholm. Alex.
You're gonna have to get that one nailed down for next time.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next Thursday.